Charlene, we back. That like button. We is back. We back. You know, we've been taking a break from hip hop, man. We're taking a break from hip hop to focus on politics. Not really politics. I mean, I guess it would be considered politics. Or just the hypocrisy in politics. You know, lately that's what we've been doing the last couple of weeks. I've been showing the world that it's a large percentage of hypocritical people in this country. Hit that like button. Share the live. Large percentage of hypocritical people in this country, man. You know, people only like stats when it's beneficial to their argument. You know, it can be two situations that's exactly the same, but people view them differently, depending on race. Like, yo, I think we learned a lot, yo, through this. You know, it's always something you can learn from a tragic situation. You know, Charlie Kirk death was tragic. But I think we learned a lot. What's up, Hot Mo? I think we learned a lot about people. You know, or if we ain't learned anything new, we just got further clarification on people, yo, how they are. You know, people are hypocrites, man. Earlier today, we went into the numbers. Everybody was talking about black on black crime and crime in the black community. Then we diverted the attention to the white community and went into the numbers. And all we saying was excuses. The numbers ain't real. You believe the feds. I even heard that. That was even in the comments. So you believe the feds now? I'm like, oh shit. In 2025, people don't believe the feds no more. I'm gonna tell you, I ain't never believed the feds. Based off the history of the black community, I have never believed the feds. But since the feds do these numbers, and these are the numbers that people are using to demonize a certain group of people, so these were the numbers that was always used. Now I'm showing you that it's another group of numbers that rarely gets talked about. And I bring these numbers to the equation, and now people don't believe the feds. Like, yo, that shit is crazy, yo. That shit is crazy, man. Man, I don't know, y'all. Dialogue. Open dialogue, I think. The root cause is propaganda. People believe propaganda. People like lies. I just was explaining it. Rewind the video back, Freaky 420. People like lies, yo. People don't really like the truth, yo. I told you, people just want you to reinforce what they already believe. You know, because the truth is tough. You know, if you believe your whole life, yo, that black people are inherently dangerous, and black people did this, or these people did that, and then you find out that, yo, these numbers not really telling the full story, but this is what you believe, this is what you was raised on, this is what you know, what you was taught. It's hard to then realize, like, that was lied to. Yo, most black people had to realize that. You know, chasing the street life. You know, we got sold the streets. And then you get to a certain age and you realize, like, oh damn, yo, this street shit. I done had some runs, I done made some money, I done fuck with some female, I done did it all. Yo, but it's not a fruitful life. You understand what I'm saying? There's really no benefit. You know, all you keep doing is starting over. It's very seldom that a motherfucker have a nice run and sustain that run forever. It happens, yo, but it ain't a life to chase. But I can admit that. You understand what I'm saying? I can admit that. There's people that when we talk about Charlie Kirk, and they say, well, Charlie Kirk be telling the truth, and you show them, yo, that ain't necessarily the truth. They still don't want to believe it. Because this is what they always believe. Charlie Kirk said, yo, it's 3 things that can be done to change the landscape of the black community. Graduate high school, and it was 2 other things. So, what I showed y'all in that last video is, yo, they are passing failing children. You understand? So, yeah, by statistical data, he's correct. But when you start pulling back the layers and you realize that, yeah, school ain't what it used to be. And right now, school done got politicized the way it's not even about education. It's just about grades. It's about standardized tests. And when people and when principals in these schools are lying on exams, you're producing failing kids. That's going to turn into failing adults. So then you revert back to what Charlie Kirk said about graduating high school and how that's that's a stepping stone to success. It's like, is it really? Can that still be true? When you know on the reverse end you got these things going on in these schools. I don't think that can be true no more, man. So it sounds great. And by statistics, it is true. But in reality, when you deal with all the other things that's going on, it ain't true. Does that make sense to people? But people don't want to accept that as a reality. They want to make excuses for it because they just want to believe what they want to believe. He talked about fatherless homes. I showed y'all in the live I did earlier, right? I showed y'all that in the 60s, black families, two-parent households is at 68%. In the 60s. So from 30 years, from the 60s to the 90s, it dropped all the way from 68% to 33%. What happened? Nobody can talk about the thing. Like, people want to act like this is, fatherless homes wasn't always an issue. Wasn't always an issue. It became an issue once the federal government got involved, once these agencies got involved. These agencies is what destroyed the black community. But nobody wants to have that conversation. When you tell people the truth, oh, you playing a victim. You're not taking accountability. When it shows through history, if you really know history, it shows that, these things happen. These things led to this. A led to B, B led to C, C led to D. But people don't want to believe it. Because that's opposite of what they already believe. He probably did love everyone. I ain't saying he didn't. I'm saying that the people that follow him is hypocrites. Like, I'm not going to disrespect dude. You know what I mean? Like, this ain't one of them pages. Like, I think what happened to him was horrible. I'm not going to, he didn't do anything to anybody. Now, he pushed dangerous narratives. Definitely pushed dangerous narratives that could have got some people hurt. But he didn't do anything to anybody other than speaking. And I don't believe that he should have been murdered for that. But people have been murdered for that. He's not the first and won't be the last. My internet connection bad? What was dangerous? Saying that black people was doing better in slavery. Or in the 1920s without adding, without adding to the reasons why. He said a lot of things, like, you can't just give certain statistical data. For one, he should have never been speaking on the black community, ever. He should have never been speaking on black people. That was totally outside the realm of who he was and what he knew, and he should have never been doing that. Not speaking to thousands, millions, not going to children. Now, if you want to have these conversations amongst your friends, you free to do that. But when you're going in front of the youth, you're going in front of millions, and you having these conversations about things that you're not really privy to even know, that's dangerous. That's dangerous. I watched a few of his arguments. I just was watching one earlier. Now let's go to one of the arguments, because somebody shared this earlier and I was watching this. Look, see? Y'all don't want the truth. Y'all don't want the truth. No, he's not. What makes him credible? What makes him credible? What makes him credible to talk about what's going on in the black community? He never lived there. What makes him credible? He never lived there. He doesn't have friends there. What makes him credible, y'all? No, I don't think he should be killed over no opinion. No, I ain't saying he should have died. No, we ain't doing that. Cause they can't, they know it doesn't make sense, yo. Like I always tell you, I can't go to a farmer and tell him how to farm, and I ain't never farmed before. I can't go to a nail salon and tell them, look, man, I think y'all need to start doing your nails like this. I don't do nails. Never been interested in doing nails. I know, y'all, my audio messed up. My phone, that's what took me so long, cause my fucking phone, shit, yo. My damn phone fell in, I left my damn phone in the car, yo, and it was raining and shit. Hold on, y'all. Damn, yo. Hold up. I was hoping my audio wasn't fucked up. It's still messed up? Hold on. I supposed to be live at 8 o'clock. I can't. And Ash, I'm glad you said that. I can't. You understand what I'm saying? I can't, Ash. Because I don't know. I'm doing what Charlie Kirk is doing. Was doing. That's what I'm doing. I'm shining the light right back at the same people that stepped back and enjoyed it. Yeah, you can speak on Americans, but you can't speak on what's going on in the black community. Hold on, man. When you never lived there, man. Like, you would have thought that would have been common sense. Yo, what the fuck is wrong with this phone? God dang, all my phones fucked up. You'd have thought that would have been common sense. You can't do that. You can't do that with no other. You can't do that with nothing else. But for some reason, when it comes down to black people, it's like everybody free game. Let me see. But for some reason, when it comes down to black, damn, my fucking audio fucked up. Damn, yo. What the fuck is Tacoma? What's the east side of Tacoma? Is that St. Louis? If you black, how you gonna challenge what I'm saying? You black. So you think that people outside of the community should be able to speak loudly and boldly and proudly on black people? Clive? Yeah, we talking about hypocrites. Y'all are hypocrites. Because what I learned earlier is, and my bad, y'all, my audio fucked up. My phone got wet in the rain. What I found out earlier is y'all only care about statistics when it's beneficial. You only care about statistics when it's beneficial to your argument. Y'all don't really care about statistics. If I told y'all that per capita white people was raping and was dealing in incest more than any other group of people, y'all would act like it's not a problem. But if I talk about black on black crime, y'all would say these people need the death penalty. You understand what I'm saying? That's the hypocritical parts in y'all, man. The hypocritical part is y'all just want to believe. How am I race beating? There we go with the dumb shit. I'm trying to bring us closer. I'm trying to bring us closer through real dialogue and understanding, not rhetoric. Not rhetoric. Charlie Kirk was pushing rhetoric. If there was anybody race baiting, it was him because he was giving incomplete facts. It was incomplete. Yo, but you can't speak what you believe, Ash, to millions of people. You can't do that. You can't just speak what you believe to millions of people when you don't know. You don't know. He don't know. He never walked these streets to even be speaking on anything involving black people. No, I'm not. I'm speaking on what I know. Hectic. I'm from these communities. born and raised, went to these schools. You understand? Dealt with these police, dealt with the economic issues, dealt with poverty. I'm from there. He's not. Now, if I start speaking on the trailer park, I'll be dead wrong. Just off my observation, incest is high in the trailer park. Just off my observation, drug usage, domestic violence is high. That's just based off my observation. I ain't never lived there at all. Y'all know, it's predominantly white people that live in trailer parks, right? I never lived there. But I'm gonna go on platforms and I'm gonna tell millions of people like, yo, domestic violence and incest is the biggest problems in the motherfucking trailer park community. How would I sound if I did that? Okay, Peter, how would I sound to you if I did that? As a black man from Baltimore, how would I sound if I went to college campuses and I just was telling everybody that would listen that, yo, the trailer park got some serious issues, man. Dope fiends, incest, domestic violence. How would y'all be like, man, he right? would y'all be like, man, he right, man, he spitting facts? Or y'all be like, man, what the fuck, who the fuck is he? You don't know what the fuck. He ain't never lived there, man. He said, I hate the trailer park as well. But what if I made the trailer park the face of the white community? What if I made the trailer park the face of the white community? What if I had the power to do that? What if I ran media? What if I ran media and I had the power to make the trailer park the face of the white community? Y'all wouldn't like that shit, man. Because y'all would say, that's not a representation of my household. Y'all make all the excuses in the world. And I'd be like, nope, hell no. No, this is who y'all is. I say, no, this is who y'all is, man. Just by this small percentage. This small percentage of people that live in the trailer park. I would say, nope. Y'all can't get out of this. This is exactly who y'all is. Let me go to what I was looking at earlier. Let's listen to some of the rhetoric. Man, my audio might clear up over time.
When too much work bogs you down, Asana helps you handle it. That's because Asana is AI coordinate.
I left my phone in the car, my window open, pouring down rain. That's why I posted went live at 8. I couldn't even charge my phone for hours. I see his debate with this girl.
I was the first one to...
It's Charlie Kirk. I thought y'all like hearing him talk. Y'all don't like hearing Charlie Kirk talk no more?
His policy on DEI, as you know, in his first weeks in office, he signed the executive order declaring that DEI is both unlawful and a threat to national unity. And I just kind of want to ask you to elaborate on why DEI is unlawful.
Well, based on the Civil Rights Act, which I have disagreements with, but based on the Civil Rights Act, which is the law of the land, it says you shall not discriminate based on color, race, creed, or origin of nationality.
Yes.
And DEI definitionally does those things.
How does it definitionally do those things?
So, for example, if you say you are going to hire a certain amount of people or have scholarships only...
Hey, Ash, yo, everybody don't come from the hood, Ash. Yo, y'all be believing hella stereotypes. Ash say there's plenty of black Americans in my neighborhood in rural Texas, and they are treated just as good as the rest of the community because they leave the BS they came from behind, and so did I. What does that even mean, y'all? What does that make sense to you? Anybody ain't come from humble beginnings, man, or from the hood, or most of our people is raised up off integrity, morals, and principles. We're not even raised off of hate.
For a certain people, you are then prejudicing against another group.
Which group are you prejudicing?
So white people, Asians as well. I mean, white people are an easy one off the top of your head. So, for example,
Everybody
in the Harvard
from the hood to
admissions
bring it with
case,
them.
I said this earlier, the average test score for a black individual was around 1,300 SAT, about 3.2 GPA. For a white or Asian, it would be about a 3.9 to 4 GPA and about nearly a perfect SAT. So you are disenfranchising and stereotyping and prejudicing against whites or Asians in favor of blacks.
You're not prejudicing against whites or Asians, though, because DEI is not on a race basis. DEI stands for diversity, equity.
Well, I didn't even ever support DEI, so I'm not a DEI supporter. I think all that shit did was help motherfucking, you know what I mean, certain group of people. That shit ain't even been around long enough for it to even be a debate. DEI came around in what, 2012, some shit like that, 2015? That shit ain't been around long enough to even have a conversation about this shit for real. So we can skip that part.
Or black-only dormitories.
But those are kind of...
Depends what we mean in practice. So I can give you one example. There are black-only graduation ceremonies at certain schools, or black-only dormitories.
But those are kind of student-led. I'm part of a black-only
play this out.
organization, and
So,
it's run by students. It's not
fair
run
enough.
by school.
Let's play it out. So if there is a black-only, let's pretend, which it's not, that building is black-only. If I said that, if that building was
Among
white,
the campus centers?
no, I said let's
okay.
pretend it's
yes,
not.
hypothetically, yes.
Hypothetically, if that building was white-only, you would agree that's a violation of the Civil Rights Act.
Yes, but there
Hold
are
on,
no buildings on campus that are black-only and white-only.
Well,
And by the way...
but there are on other campuses.
No,
though.
but in those dormitories that are, like, culturally specific, you don't have to be that culture to live there. They're not going to not allow you to be black, to live in a black dormitory.
You'd be
Ujima at
surprised.
Stanford. White people do live at Ujima. That's not...
I don't know about that specific example, but if it says black-only dormitory...
But it doesn't say black-only.
But okay, how about this? How about if we had... Well, it does.
It doesn't. Where? Where does it say that?
Just to be clear, well, in the title. But let's
No,
pretend
but
it says
where?
black...
Like, what school? Where does it say black-only building?
Eastern Washington University, Portland State University, just off the top of my head, San Jose State University.
They say black-only dormitory? And if a white person were to apply to live there?
It's a black affinity cultural space of which only black individuals are accepted and governed for black individuals. But can we have white affinity cultural spaces?
You can have a white affinity cultural space. The activity is... The issue is that you're saying black only. It's not black only. It's a black affinity cultural space. But anyone is invited if they would like to participate.
I would, first of all,
You cannot legislatively not allow someone of any race to participate in something. That doesn't exist.
We agree. That's the spirit of the diversity, equity, and...
Yeah, because what he's saying is it's against the law. So he's pushing the narrative that they got black-only spaces in Yo, that's against the law, man. It's against the law. Now, are there places where it's majority black kids in these spaces? Yeah, because the school's more than likely majority black. I mean, or the white kids just don't decide to enter. But that's the same thing with any race. Like, he's pushing rhetoric. He's pushing rhetoric. False narratives. Incomplete facts. If the facts is incomplete, it's a lie.
Order is that DEI in practice, again, we have to go through example after example, is discrimination, prejudice,
well,
and
let's talk
segregation.
about DEI in practice. Let's talk about DEI programs in the workforce. Because DEI programs in the workforce happen to benefit veterans, they benefit people with disabilities, they benefit people at an economic desperate, they benefit lots of people that is not...
Yeah, how I'm pushing idiocracy by saying he's lying? See, that's what I'm saying. That's why I call y'all hypocrites. He's lying. He's pushing the false narrative. He's pushing the false narrative, man. Yeah, I don't co-sign what that dude did to that girl on that train. Yo, why y'all say that? Y'all think black people stood behind that? Yo, y'all really think black people stood behind what that man did to that girl on that train? That's really what y'all think. That, yo, we championed that. Yo, that was fucking stupidity. Yo, who are y'all watching? Who are y'all watching that co-signed that? Where y'all seeing these videos? I haven't seen none of these videos that co-signed that shit, man. I'm not ignoring y'all. It's just a lot of... Because what he's saying doesn't make sense, y'all. It doesn't make sense what he's saying.
Just on the basis of race. And to me,
fuck boy, yo. Any black man co-signing killing that girl for absolutely no reason is a fucking clown. It's a clown. Do y'all understand that now? So I don't want to hear that again. Any black man, this is coming from a black man, that co-signed that guy stabbing that girl for absolutely no reason is a fucking clown. I can say that though. I can say that. But the hypocrisy is y'all can't admit when he says something wrong. That's the hypocrisy. That's why I say, yo, Charlie Kirk supporters are hypocrites. Because he can give incomplete statistics that deserves further explanation. And without explaining it, y'all just believe it. And then when I explain it and say, yo, this is how we got here. This is why this is this. This is why this is that. Y'all don't want to hear that. Come on, see, y'all, we ain't got time to be dealing with racism, Gordon. We having real conversation. You want to be racist? Go take that shit somewhere else, man. Why you can't have a real conversation without being racist, man? What's up, LaVar? No, I showed proof. Reason? I showed proof. Just like my fourth video. Go back and watch them all. I showed statistics. I showed.
Feels like you're conflating DEI with pro-blackness or black only,
So
which is not the definition of DEI.
So let's take a high-profile DEI example. Is that cool? Just maybe one we can play around with?
Okay.
Which got me in a lot of viral trouble, which I don't care. Which is pilots.
I got in a lot of viral trouble too.
Hey.
Debating this guy,
I
you know.
And you kept interrupting you.
You did.
I know, right? Which is this? Which is that, let's say DEI. A project of DEI at United Airlines was that we want to get 40% of our pilots to be black or women of color, or women or people of color.
40%.
50. I'm sorry, to get up to 50.
You see what he just did? You see what he just did? First he said black, then he said women. You know who benefited most from DEI? White women. White women benefited the most from DEI. Y'all want to go look up the numbers?
It was at like 6%. So therefore, they want to make a push towards that, and it was currently at 6%. We look at that and we say, wow, you're going to have to lower standards to get to that goal.
Why would you have to lower standards?
Well, because
are you saying that black people are inherently inferior?
I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying that, black people are only 13% of the population, so you want 13% of the population.
Women are not 13% of the population. Women are 50% of the population.
Yeah, but women do not make up a majority of people that want to become pilots. In fact, vast majority of women don't want to be.
You see what I'm saying? He pushing lies, man. You see what they say? White women has disproportionately benefited from diversity, equity, and inclusion incentives. Studies suggest groups like McKinsey Company also support this conclusion. He's not telling the truth, y'all. He's not telling the truth. He's sitting here having a conversation about DEI when white women are the biggest beneficiaries of DEI. But since y'all are hypocrites and y'all only want to deal with stats when they back up your argument, you don't really want truth. Now you listening to Google. See, you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? That's why you hypocrites. Now, if I was go to the on black numbers, and it say black people 13% of the population commit 50-something% of the violent crime, you believe that though. This is why the title is what it is. This is why I call y'all hypocrites. You only want to believe numbers when it's beneficial to your argument. That's the only time you want to. I just showed you the numbers. Now it's not important now. now you're using Google. Now you're using the federal statistics. Who believes the feds? Man, get the fuck out of here. Hey, it's crazy. That's why I'm glad we having this conversation, man. This is why I'm glad we having this conversation. Look, you still arguing. You still don't even recognize the hypocritical stance you just took. You still don't even recognize the hypocritical stance you just took. That's not about him disagreeing. He making it a black thing. He making it a black thing. When statistics that we always believe until it ain't beneficial no more, says that white women benefited the most. Yo, y'all crazy as shit, yo. Oh my gosh, yo. I be tripping off of y'all, man. Yo, y'all is crazy, man. Bullfrog, what it do? Innovation, what it innovative, what it do? Look, now I just reported you. yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, man. That was not true. So I might, do black people commit most of the violent crime in America? I did read it. I showed it. I didn't have to read it. I showed it to you. I gotta read it. You can read it. Look, you can read it. Read it yourself. All right, but you believe that though? You see, make sure a hypocrite, Mike. Why are those numbers true, but the numbers I just showed you ain't? Why are those numbers true, but the numbers I just showed you ain't? Yo, go explain this shit to me, man. Oh my gosh, yo. Yo, y'all is funny, man. I swear, y'all is funny, yo. I would get a good laugh tonight. God damn.
Maybe they would want to become pilots if the barriers for entry
Well,
weren't...
see, that now we're going down a different but equally fun direction, which is male-female differences. Men much more likely want to be involved in heavy machinery mechanics. They want to be pilots. They want to be tank operators. They want to be police officers. Whereas women much more likely want to be, you know, Ellen, I'll get to you, Mason. Don't worry, and I remember your name.
Yes, can Mason go? They won't let him go.
I'll let Mason go. I'll let Mason go.
Let me interrupt here for a minute.
I don't want to hear what he got to say. I want to hear the debate. Sleep to yo, whoever yo is. Yo, y'all is too funny, man. I swear, y'all is hilarious. I get a good laugh off y'all every night. That's why we do these videos, man. I ain't gonna lie, I get a great laugh off of y'all every single night.
Last time, okay? But do you understand, at least from our perspective, because it's no good for us to go back and forth again, maybe, from our perspective, that we worry that the pursuit of diversity can mean the compromising of excellence.
Charlie Kirk, this country is diverse. You can't just say the pursuit of diversity is compromising excellence. Diversity literally just means difference. This country is 13% black, it's 14% immigrant, it's 1/5 of every person in this country is Hispanic, it's 7% homosexual, and 50% of the country disagrees with you.
Okay,
diversity is America. You cannot say
all of that is
that
true.
you are America first if you do not care about half of America.
I care about them so much, in fact.
You care about them so much that you don't want to give them
I didn't interrupt you.
access
I care
to
about
equal rights.
Well, hold on. No one said rights. Hold on a second. No. I care about them.
It is. It's equal rights. It's
Naima,
equal access.
Let me finish. Now, who's interrupting her? I care about them so much. I want the only thing that they're ever judged on is to be their character or their competency, not their skin color.
Okay, so you want it to be a meritocracy.
Yes.
So let's talk about a meritocracy.
Okay.
What experience does Kash Patel have to run the FBI?
He has amazing experience.
No, he doesn't. He wanted to start a UFC fighting program at the FBI.
I got 5 words in. He was the most important thing. He was a public defender.
That's not what that's not the job of the FBI. He has no experience in the FBI.
He was a public defender and he was a special prosecutor.
Was he ever a member of the FBI?
No, but
he doesn't have the merit to have that.
Hold on a second.
All right, let's do another example.
But
what experience does Linda McMahon?
What
experience does Linda McMahon have to run?
She ran the Small Business Administration in the first term, which is a big organization. She was the head of the SBA.
When she was the CEO of WWE,
I'm not even talking about that. She ran the SBA.
One of her employees was engaging in pedophilic behavior with their ring boys. Under her watch.
I'm not going to defend that.
And now she is somehow qualified to be responsible for all of America's children?
Hold on a second. She was previously a cabinet secretary and then became a different cabinet secretary. That's like a one-to-one.
Yeah, and then before that, she was enabling
you're first of all, I don't know about that instance. If that's true, that's wrong.
That's very much true. How do you not know about that, Charlie?
I don't.
I'm not saying Charlie was a bad man. He probably was. He probably was a great man. I'm saying he pushed a lot of rhetoric. And a lot of things that he said was lies or incomplete. It was incomplete. I'm saying that he wasn't educated enough to speak on some of these topics he spoke on pertaining to black people. That's what I'm saying. I showed y'all. I just told y'all. He's making this whole beef about DI and putting it on the black community when white people benefited the most, disproportionately benefited the most. And then I showed y'all the numbers. Like y'all always want to believe. If I show y'all these numbers, let me see. Let me show y'all these numbers. Black on black crime percentages. If I show y'all these numbers, y'all agree. If I show y'all for homicides 80 to 90%, y'all would agree. But if I show y'all these numbers, white on white crime percentages. If I show y'all these numbers, 80 to 85%, now the numbers is fake. You understand what I'm saying? If I show y'all the black on black crime numbers, y'all would agree. Man, black people killing black people at higher rates. But then I show you the same numbers when it's not black people. It's now you believe in Google. now you believe in the face. Y'all fucking hypocrites, right? Y'all hypocrites. What's the difference in the numbers? 80 to 90%, 80 to 85%. No, it's not about per capita. I'm not talking about per capita. I'm not talking about per capita. I'm talking about black on black crime and how y'all believed it when there was no real such thing as black on black crime. There was no such thing as black on black crime. People kill who they live around. It's called proximity killing. That's what it's called, man. If I'm in an all black community and if somebody get murdered, more than likely it's gonna be by the hands of a black person. More than likely. That's typically how it goes. If you're in an Asian community and somebody get murdered, it's gonna be an Asian person that do it. If you're in a white community and somebody gets murdered, it's going to be a white person to do it. Is that not true? Or y'all want to be hypocrites? Can y'all at least say is that a true statement? Is that not a true statement? Okay. So why we never had a term white on white crime? Why wasn't white on white crime popularized when white people kill each other 80% and black people kill each other 90%? Why that never was a thing? Why didn't that get promoted through mainstream media? No, but is murder not bad, Michael? Is murder not bad? I thought murder was bad, no matter how much it happens or who it happens to. I thought in America, murder was frowned upon. You understand what I'm saying? So now we're going to say, no, but they're killing more. So we're going to move the goalposts? We're going to move the goalposts and say, yeah, but no, yeah, I know we all killing each other, our own race, but they doing it more. So let's make them the issue. Come on, man, that shit sounds stupid, man. I ain't moving nothing. I'm staying. I'm keeping it right here. You say we need more leaders. All right, then. So let's make it fair. Then we shouldn't have never put that stigma on a group of people. We should have never put that stigma on a group of people. Ever. We should have never did it. If we was to go to school shooting. School shootings in America by demographic. Mm-mm-mm. 53% of school shootings are done by white people. What if we made that the face of white people? What if we say, yo, what if we just popularized that and made that a thing? Like, yo, well, everybody got issues, man. You understand what I'm saying? Everyone has issues. But the problem is, it's not the people, it's exploitation through the media. You know, anybody can be exploited. Anybody could be exploited. If I ran a narrative that say, yo, most of the school shootings, these radicalized shootings are done by white people, how would y'all view that? So y'all don't want to have a real conversation, man. That's crazy. I'm just every time I do these lives, I just get more and more disappointed in y'all. It's the truth. Yo, mass shootings ain't done by white people, man. And we not talking about what we classifying as a mass shooting. Are we talking about innocent people being murdered, or are we talking about street beefs that turn deadly? Yo, we talking about in the white community, yo, innocent people are being murdered through radicalization. We're not talking about street beefs that turn deadly. That's two different situations. That's two different situations, y'all. Innocent people being radicalized and just wake up in the morning and just want to kill people for no reason. No reason. Versus a dispute between a group of guys that turn deadly. Which one you think works? Who's more dangerous? Who is more dangerous, y'all? The guy that wakes up in the morning and just decides to kill for no reason? Or the street beef that turned deadly? Look, you see what I'm saying? Y'all know the answer. That's why I call y'all hypocrites. Y'all know the answer. You understand? But since the answer doesn't fit your narrative, you want to lie. You rather lie than accept the reality. But then y'all say black people not being accountable. Yo, that is way more deadly. A person that can just seemingly be normal and just wake up one morning and decide the mass murder is a much deadlier person than the person that have a dispute with somebody for whatever reason and it turned deadly. Much more serious. Way more dangerous person. They're seemingly normal. No, it don't happen less. It actually happens a lot. They've been 228 school shootings in America, man. 228. 288. What country had the most school shootings in 2025? Hold on. Look, this since 2009. This is 2009, man. What I'm saying is people are dangerous. What I'm saying is they should have never put that stigma on a group of people. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they should have never put that stigma on a particular group of people. Because what it does is it created division, it created hate, and it's misplaced. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we all got issues. It's not fair to just point the finger at a group of people and say they are the problem, when there's other problems going on as well. Radicalization is a problem in this country. Major problem. Major. I think radicalization is just as bad as gangs. I think radicalization is just as bad as gangs. I'm not talking about the people y'all is, because y'all been hypocrites. Yo, but who's at the head of rap culture, Emily? Who's at the head of rap culture? Who's at the head of it? Who's at the head of rap culture? Who are the releases of music? You know, who dictate what goes out versus what don't? Right, Trade. Come on, man. That's what I'm saying. But no, y'all don't want to have a real conversation if it don't fit your argument. Y'all don't want to have a real conversation if it don't fit your argument, man. Y'all just want reinforcements of what you already believe. But I want to go to this. We're gonna get back to this conversation. I just wanted to show y'all hypocrites. Every time I showed y'all numbers that didn't go against y'all arguments, y'all made excuses. Every single time. Every time I showed y'all the numbers that didn't, and with every video, we did about 6 videos. With every video, every time I showed y'all numbers that didn't fit y'all argument, y'all made excuses, man. That's what y'all did. I want to see this. Black incarceration went down because mass incarceration stopped.
If you have SNAP or Medicaid, you may qualify for a free iPhone or Samsung.
Mass incarceration stopped. That's another thing people, y'all talk about things that happened 200 years ago. I don't. Everything I talk about in reference to the black community, that shit happened within the last 40 years. You know what I mean? I don't have to go back to slavery. I'd rather not even take the conversation back to slavery. You know, I can just deal with everything that's happened recently. Then inform me then, Mike. Since you're Mike, are you a black man? Are you black? Are you more informed? See that, and that's just the ignorance. That's the ignorance. That's the ignorance. How can a non-black person be more informed about what's going on in the black community than me? That's ignorance in itself. That's ignorance. I'm glad you said that, Nicholas, because you pay attention to the news. But what if I told you the news push propaganda? What if I told you the news can make you believe whatever the fuck they want you to believe about any group of people? It don't matter if it's true or not. What if I told you that? What if I told you the news is fake, like Donald Trump? Donald Trump calls it fake news. But you see the hypocrisy? You believe the news when it's showing black people in a negative light. You believe that. This is the hypocrisy in y'all. But if the news was to show you something outside of that, now you got to question it. I don't know. I don't know if that's real or not. FBI be lying. Yo, let me tell you something. FBI been lying. The FBI is what damaged the black community. The FBI, the CIA, these intelligence agencies, they're the ones that put out this false narrative on black people. That's who did it. COINTELPRO, counterintelligence agencies, investigations, propaganda, media manipulation. You know, like they say Hitler did to the Jews, ran a propaganda machine on them. What if I told you the propaganda machine ran against the black people in America? Y'all don't see y'all. Y'all just want to be racist. I'm not lying. Everything I'm saying is proven. Everything I say can be proven.
A couple of things that I want to say at the top to help focus some of these investigations that are going on. So many people that are sending us
I didn't say
emails.
anything that was racist. I ain't say anything that was racist. I'm trying to actually tell y'all the truth, so hopefully y'all can get an understanding. Cause you wasn't getting the truth from Charlie Kirk. Exactly, and they white communities, Byron. I ain't call y'all racist. I said y'all hypocrites. I didn't say you was racist. Did racists ever come out of my mouth? I said y'all was hypocrites. That's what I said. I said y'all are hypocrites. And I'm showing you that y'all are hypocrites. I'm showing you that y'all are hypocrites. Because when we produce numbers that shows black people in a negative light, y'all love them. Just like earlier. I told y'all about the fatherless home shit. You know, how that play was being ran. The play was being ran like black people just left the house. It's not what happened. Black people was removed from the house. Black man was removed from the house. Then I showed you Charlie Kirk in the last 3 years talking about how, you know, it need to be two family households in the black community. But then I showed y'all that from the 90s up until now, we done went up 30%. 30%. From the 90s to 2025. But yet, y'all still running with this narrative that, black men need to take care of their kids, and we need more two-family households. And, it's not true like it used to be. It's not true no more. Yeah, it's better. Go to the live earlier. I never said it was worse, man. Come on now. Now you're just saying anything. Moving the goalposts again.
And I see a lot of the chatter that's happening. First and foremost,
who don't take care of their kids? My kids upstairs right now. It's not at 30%. It's at 40-something% right now. It's at 40-something% right now. Not at 30%. Look it up.
no, Charlie was not wearing an earpiece. He was not wearing an earpiece. I saw some of that earlier footage, and it looked like he was. And I was able to verify that actually what people think is an earpiece that's coming up is actually the necklace that he was wearing. I also want you guys to know that he was not wearing a bulletproof vest. I was able to verify that, and there does seem to be a backstory there. Somebody that had reached out who had been providing vests for Charlie and then no longer was providing vests for him. We're looking into that, but I wanted you to know those two facts. All right, now, jumping into what I wanted to discuss today, we thought we should go back and read.
In 1970, when they started running the plays on the black community, the two-parent households is at 29%. In 2023, it's at 44.2%. Yo, that is a huge difference. It's a huge difference. Huge difference. And if you go back to the 60s, it was at 68%. So what changed from the 60s? What changed from the 60s to the 70s? You know what changed from the 60s to the 70s? J. Edgar Hoover. J. Edgar Hoover. FBI, COINTELPRO. Propaganda. That's what changed from the 60s to the 70s. Martin Luther King dead. Malcolm X dead. Black Panther's gone. That's what changed, man. You know what happened in the 80s? Crack cocaine. Crack cocaine hit. Devastated the community. Like, yo, these things can be proven. But since it doesn't fit your argument, it's just the facts. Luke, it's just that these things happen. Like, what the fuck is you? It's not about being a victim. These things are true. Why don't you want to deal with the truth? You rather me get up? You rather get lied to by Charlie Kirk? Man, y'all. That's why I call y'all hypocrites. What I get proven wrong about? I don't think anything I said was wrong.
Examine all of the witnesses, okay?
My proposed solution is people need to start listening. People is way too vocal on situations that they know nothing about. Like what y'all should be doing now is listening. It's way too much comment. Way too much comment and not enough listening.
People who spoke out to the press in the immediate aftermath of the killing. Obviously, that's what brought us to Caldera Engineering, the man who owned a couple of houses on that block, and we found out that Caldera Engineering, a lot of the employees live on that block.
Yo, my children ain't got to worry about being no statistic of fatherless home. Know why? Because I know the play that was ran on my mother and how I grew up in a fatherless home. See, that's the part y'all not understanding. Most of the adults, the 80s and the 90s, yo, we grew up without fathers, so yo, we not moving that same direction. Even with the numbers of two-parent households being down, I guarantee the numbers of black men that's taking care of their kids is way higher. Way higher. And the narrative that black men left isn't true. It's not true.
And then, of course, I want to be clear, it doesn't make these people guilty of anything. But I thought it was interesting that I kept seeing this theme that none of these individuals were students of UVU. I guess that's just coincidental. Just to go back, we had already discussed Tiffany Barker and that early morning GMA interview, Good Morning America interview that she did with her nieces. So I'm going to show you that again to jog your memory because we have an update. Take a listen.
You call him a philosopher? Wow. Ain't gonna lie, Coram Smith, that is a philosopher? He might be a better speaker. Yeah, but that don't mean he's telling the truth either. You know, the preacher and pastors, they lie all the motherfucking time. Catholic Church, you and that bitch lying like a bitch. Like, I mean, you can be a good speaker, but that don't mean you telling the truth. It's a lot of good. Umar Johnson is a great speaker, lying like a motherfucker. Like, I don't care too much about that. I deal in the truth. I have it come out. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, man. You feel me? The streets. You understand what I'm saying? So, how I give it is going to be totally different. You know, I ain't out this bitch speaking perfect English. But you going to understand what I'm saying. If you want to. Now, if you want to live in a bubble, then live in a bubble. But if you open-minded and you understand, you know, reality, you understand exactly what I'm saying. And the reality is Charlie Kirk wasn't from these communities to ever speak on them. That's the reality of it. Fuck everything else. The reality of Charlie Kirk being from wherever he's from, he never lived in these communities. He never lived there. Just like a lot of y'all never lived there. So why do y'all think y'all know what's going on? When experience is the best teacher. I don't care what books you read. I don't care what you're saying on TV. None of that matters if you've never been there.
We're joined now by Tiffany Barker and her nieces Elle Steele and Mia Grant, who were all in the audience yesterday afternoon. Thank you for joining us this morning. I know it's been a difficult day for all of you right now. And Tiffany, let me begin with you. Just tell us what you remember about the scene yesterday.
It was horrific. There was one shot that rang out.
Hey, Jesse, they can't answer that question. There's no way they can answer that question, Jesse, because what's up, Jermaine? Because it doesn't fit the narrative. Now, some people can. Like, it has been people. There has been people over here that's not black that can admit that, yo, this radicalization is a problem on parenting. They can admit that. Because why black kids not being radicalized like this? What's the difference? Why do we blame black mothers for their kids getting into the streets, but we're not blaming white parents for their kids being radicalized? Why are we not doing that? Since we like blaming people, right? Why aren't we blaming the white community specifically for these kids being radicalized and running up in these schools doing these wild ass shootings? Why are we not blaming parenting? But they can't have it. That's why I call y'all hypocrites. That's why the title stands, because it shows that y'all are hypocrites. Y'all hypocrites. If these was black kids doing all this political violence, oh my God. I can just imagine what would be going on right now. But being as though it's not black kids, it's not a real issue. It's not a real issue now. Look, Liz. You see what I'm saying?
And everybody instantly looked around and then fell to the ground. People saw Charlie instantly get shot in the neck. And everybody fell to the ground, and then people started running and got run over. And I was with my family. There were 16 of us there. So 5 adults and like 11 children. And we instantly got separated. We're trying to find everybody. And we had amazing good Samaritans that grabbed kids. One took my niece and took her to her apartment. Somebody grabbed these 2 and my daughter and took them over to the tennis courts and stayed with them till I came. It was a super awful tragedy, and there were really good people that stood up and supported each other, and it was actually really powerful to see that.
Elle and me, I can't imagine how scared you must have been yesterday. What can you tell us about what you all remember? Elle, you go first.
So I remember hearing this thing. It was hard to know what it was, but then I saw it, and I saw blood everywhere, and it hit his
Why did he bring kids? Why are they bringing kids up there to speak? That is mighty strange. Who allowed that child to even do that? Yo, you allow your child to get on the news and speak about a fucking murder? I don't think I allow my kids to do that, y'all. It's a little strange. What's up, Ball Out?
I fell to the ground. I covered my head with my hands. And then I just started saying a prayer. And then we all ran. We sprinted away. And we ran away and then we met at the tennis courts. And then we couldn't find anyone. It was just me, Mia, and then my other just so scary.
I'm sure, Mia.
I remember that we were like 15 feet away, and I thought like the shot was like a firecracker or something. It just didn't seem real. After that, we went like behind where Charlie Kirk was, and then we were meeting up at the tennis courts and trying to find everyone and get everyone together. And Charlie Kirk was such a good guy. I'm gonna miss him so much. I've always watched all of his videos, and
I can't imagine what you all went
America's gonna miss Charlie Kirk.
I can't imagine what you went through yesterday. Thanks for sharing your stories this morning.
Okay, so to update you and to remind you, I had mentioned that first and foremost, Tiffany Barker is a part of a very political family, a very connected family in the region. The internet sleuths just were on it. Apparently there's a whole Reddit feed, and they were able to determine that not only is she connected to a big political family that is high up in the LDS church, but she also forgot to mention, and maybe there wasn't time to mention, to be fair, that they knew Charlie, that the daughter had sung at Charlie Kirk's events. So it would have been something that I think I would have said, but again, sort of in the chaos, maybe in the next morning while the manhunt is going on, and in...
Hey, Lou, you haven't been saying anything irrelevant. Lou, you haven't taken no accountability yet. Lou, the whole conversation, all you did was move the goalpost. You one of the hypocrites, Lou. You want to believe all the numbers that make black people look bad, but you don't want to believe none of the numbers that make white people look bad too. You're a hypocrite.
Sort of short stint of speaking to Good Morning America, you didn't have time to give those details. Now, many people were curious mainly as to why the children were so descriptive regarding the artery. And Tiffany herself made a response video and addressed that question. And here is what she had to say.
When we get in the car, we're stuck in the parking lot for like an hour and a half. My niece that was sitting right behind me in this car filmed Charlie getting shot. She was filming him speaking, and then she said, "Tiff, I have it on video." And I said, "Give me your phone. I don't want you to watch it. Give me the phone." So I took her phone, and the kids in the car with me, because they were closer down by my sister.
But Jess, no, what's crazy, Jesse? I said that. I say more white women benefited from DEA than anybody. But Charlie Kirk was over there pushing the narrative that it was about black people. You go to the airport and you see a black man. But that's not who benefited. It's not who benefited the most. So how did that conversation turn black? How did the DEI conversation turn to black versus white? When black people, most of these programs, most of these minority programs, black people don't benefit from it. Most of these minority programs, the biggest beneficiaries aren't black people. Facts.
Really close up, and they saw how much Charlie bled, and we're all trying to process that. So I have an hour and a half in a car.
You see what I'm saying? That's racist. That was a racist statement. But saying black on black crime, but calling out a particular crime and putting a race to it, that wasn't racist. Unbelievable, right? Y'all hypocrites, y'all. Hypocrites.
With my nieces and my two daughters, and I'm trying to help them through what we just saw. And they said, "Why did he bleed like that?" And I said, "There's an artery here. Maybe they hit an artery." I didn't know. We didn't know anything, and we're trying to get information. And then I get one text come in and said, "Glenn Beck said he's stable."
No, I'm saying the biggest beneficiaries was white women. Chrome. That's what I'm saying. The biggest beneficiaries was white women. That's what the numbers say. When I showed y'all the numbers early in the live, people say, "Oh, now you believe in Google." that's what they said, man. But we believe Google with anything else. Anything negative about black people, we believe Google. We believe Google. But now when I show you some other numbers, we don't believe Google no more. Now Google not accurate. Now Google is biased. Like, it's crazy, man.
And I told the kids, "You guys okay? He's okay." They're taking turns praying for him.
So I connected with her after she made this video, and I wanted to specifically confirm and clarify two things. Again, not because I think her or her nieces had anything to do with the assassination, but because they were eyewitnesses. And I first and foremost wanted to know why Good Morning America reached out with them. It didn't seem to me that any of the videos she put out would have inspired a producer to reach out and say, hey, can you be our eyewitness, provide eyewitness testimony to what took place? And she intimated to me that actually it was a political connection. That was the reason it happened. Her sister ran as lieutenant governor alongside Phil Lehman. And actually, Good Morning America reached out to Phil Lehman. And somehow that is how, instead of Phil Lehman or her sister, they ended up with her sister's children and her, because they were at the event. Now, regarding her, obviously you heard her explanation for why they mentioned the artery. I wanted to see if they even recorded that footage of Charlie or if they were close enough to see that. And my answer to that would be no, on the basis of the footage that she gave me. She has not yet provided any footage that would suggest that her nieces saw that graphic or were able, anything that was that descriptive. I think this might have been just a little bit of like political insertion, so to speak. Either way, I will say that any kids being anywhere where a shot is ringing out is going to be traumatizing to a child. And of course, she is being honest that through discussion.
Yo, black people don't give a fuck about this shit, man. Like, yo, this is the thing, yo, like this whole political beef, yo, this ain't got nothing to do with black, yo, we not even involved in politics that much to care. Like, if we not going out riding and looting behind politics, you know what I mean? Yo, Black Lives Matter wasn't black people. Go look at the rallies. Go look at the rallies, man. Go back and look at the Black Lives Matter rally. See how many. See if there was black people out there. That shit was gays and whites. she wasn't a black community, man. Antifa is not black people. Alright, well, that's what's up, Corn. So just believe the stats. If you're going to believe the stats, believe them when it's not beneficial to you. Don't just believe them when it's beneficial, man. That makes you a hypocrite.
She is the one that kind of gave them the idea regarding the artery. Let's get fiscal. Less than one savings strike. New to finances, learn to master your money with
Black Lives Matter was rallying in Minnesota. Black Lives Matter was rallying in Minnesota. Y'all know the black population in Minnesota? What was it? It was Minnesota and there was another one. What city hosted the two biggest Black Lives Matter campaigns? Minneapolis, Minnesota. And there was another one. Look at the black population in Minnesota, man. Minneapolis, to be exact.
To take a look, or just including this, I was simultaneously taking a look at George Zinn. Obviously, I wanted to track down George Zinn because where was Decoy Boy sitting? Where exactly was he arrested? And I was able to discover something that I found to be quite odd. George Zinn was arrested in the same area, almost in the exact spot where Charlie's SUV departs. Which to me, if you think somebody is the killer, you probably wouldn't send them in the direction of someone that they just shot. So I wanted to sort of prod that narrative a little bit further. So first I want you guys, in case you don't understand the layout of this particular, if we're calling it a stadium, that he was sitting amphitheater, that there is, and we're coming inward here.
Everybody's not hypocrites. Everybody's not hypocrites. But we just had a large percentage of them over this motherfucker that disregarded stats that went against their argument. Well, every stat that I showed that vouches for their argument, they agreed with them.
Hexagon that's sitting there, where that dot is where Charlie is sitting. And you can see there's like a bridge walkway. And Charlie has to walk underneath that to get to where his cars are, okay? So in front of him is the audience in that half hexagon. And yep, we're coming inward. right there, where you can see the mouse pointing right there, is where the SUVs were waiting, the SUV that carried Charlie. So they just went backwards from where the tent was, okay? And that underpass is right here. You can see a clear image of it, and you can actually see now we're in that underpass, we are kind of where that SUV was, and you can see the back of the tent that Charlie was in. We were able to determine that it was approximately 40 seconds from the time that the shot rang off to when the security brings Charlie into the waiting SUV. So they moved very quickly from shot to getting him into the SUV, obviously trying to save his life. Then, approximately just 1 minute and 8 seconds, George Zinn is brought to that exact same territory. So Charlie departs, and about 1 minute and 8 seconds later, we've got George Zinn, and he is in handcuffs. And when I say 1 minute and 8 seconds, I'm building in extra seconds. I'm trying to be as precise as possible. I am counting and I'm watching everything. But I found it, again, odd that George Zinn is arrested in the exact same area that they just took Charlie. And it's fast, right? And it's especially fast because we then found footage of George Zinn after the shot rings out. And we're going to watch this. He's gonna get up, and people are dispersing everywhere, and he kind of calmly gets up and starts making his way down that stadium. You can see that here. We have the light on him, and his pants fall down by themselves. You can see that his pants did not, like, we were kind of working under the assumption that his pants fell down because, I don't know, the police were pulling him, but that's actually incorrect. They just fall down all by themselves, and you can see that a young man comes by to try to assist him. Okay, so has nothing to do with the arrest. Now, to be clear, when we see him sort of making his way down those stairs, we can actually approximate, because we did, like I said, we're counting seconds.
With FNB, you can switch your direct deposits in minutes.
I'm all sick of these damn ads. I'm ready to get rid of these bitches.
Happens earliest 30 seconds after the shot is fired, okay? And this clip, that clip that you just watched, is about 20 seconds long. So it's about a full 50 seconds, and we know that George Zinn is still standing right there, okay? So somehow George Zinn needs to get from where you just saw him, where his pants fall, to handcuffs in the SUV zone in about 40 seconds flat. Again, that's very fast. We were able to find the footage of him walking down. He just walked down like you see him. He just is walking down the stairs, and he has his hat in his hand, and he starts waving, and he's going toward the left side of the tent. If you're behind the tent looking forward, like if you have Charlie's view, he is then going to kind of go down, and he walks to the left side of the tent. So I wanted to show you this second timeline that I put together, because this just lets you know what happens in the immediate aftermath. Charlie, Skylar, I'm not sure if I told you to pull that. Can you see that little timeline that we have? Yeah, no worries. I'll give you a couple of seconds, but we have, Charlie gets shot. 40 seconds later, Charlie's brought to the SUV. 10 seconds after that is where George Zinn's pants fall down in the middle of a departing crowd. And then 1 minute and 15 seconds after that shot rings out, George Zinn is waving his hat near the left side of the tent. And then at the 1:48 mark, George Zinn is in handcuffs, and he is being pulled near where Charlie's SUV has just departed. It's very quick. Okay, all of this takes place in under 2 minutes. Not the vibe that I got. Obviously, when you are behind your cell phone and you're getting.
That's what they're telling you. It's not the only stats I brought up. I brought up a whole bunch of stats. We talked about fatherless homes. We talked about school shootings. We talked about white-on-white crime. We brought up a whole bunch of stats, man. Rewind the video. We've been live about a half an hour, maybe longer.
All of these updates, and you're trying to follow all the X accounts to see who has the newest information. I certainly was not under the impression that all took place in just 2 minutes. So then that photo starts circulating online. You know which photo I'm talking about? It's George Zinn, and he's bent down, and he is in handcuffs, and that goes viral. And so I wanted to get to the bottom of that. Who actually shared that photo of George Zinn in handcuffs? And I was able to determine that that was somebody who lived in Utah who advertises with Turning Point USA. And when he did some press about it, he didn't mention that connection to Turning Point USA, but he for sure advertises with them or has advertised in the past. Again, things are moving unbelievably quickly, and I have now watched that footage from many angles. And there's another thing that happens in the immediate aftermath that stands out to me. There is what I assume must be a donor, a sponsor of some description, or an employee of a donor / sponsor, and he tries to get close to Charlie after the shots are fired, but not in like a rescue way. There was already like a team of men that fly in, and then he gets there, and I'm not sure what the intention is. I don't know if it's just like, obviously you're shocked, maybe you're trying to be helpful, who knows. The security guard just kind of shoos him away immediately. And then what the guy does is he sort of just stands up and he takes out, like, walks to the side and takes out his cell phone. So I'm going to show you that. He's right there in the blue shirt. And, like, he sends a text. As I'm watching the footage, it just goes on a little bit longer, like sends a text, takes a photo. Not entirely clear what's being done there, but it just sort of stood out to me, like in the middle of the chaos, seeing that. And I would really like to know who that is, because we had received a ton of messages from current employees at Turning Point that had mentioned that company. He's wearing a shirt that says WireFi. And according to the sources at Turning Point, it was a rather young company, meaning that the company hasn't been around for very long, that came out in a really big way in terms of sponsorship for this tour. And that's common sense, given the fact that WireFi, you will notice in the clips of the event, is the backdrop advertiser that's behind Charlie. So maybe this person came because it's his first event of the season and they are the major sponsors. Like I said, judging by the placement and the fact that a WireFi donor or employee is there, we can draw the conclusion that they sponsored this very event. And I'm interested in knowing who that is. So if you've got any answers for that, please let me know, because I would like to see what he took a picture of and to get his perspective on things. Certainly would like to identify who that individual is. I then decided to try to track down the origin of a video that actually no press has been done on. It was the video of I assumed it was a student, and I think, we shouldn't make assumptions, who recorded the shooter on the roof. Remember? That started going viral. You remember the footage, and they're like, and there's a guy that's kind of speaking in the background. We can show you that footage right now. Let's take a look at that footage that we're referring to.
Grand Canyon University offered nearly $161 million in
Yeah, you think he'd already be in place? You would think that. So there's somebody on the roof right there? Just saying? He just ran from, where's my finger? Well, from over there, ran in. And now he's right there. Just saying.
Okay. So this footage proved very difficult to track down. And what I mean by that is it was very simple for me to find the account that published the video and made the video viral. And when I reached out to that individual, they were immediately responsive. And I said, hey, where'd you get this footage from? And the individual said to me, a friend of a friend's, family member sent it. So I'm like, okay, you're telling me the chain is already twice removed. I said, do you know who took the video? And he said, no, I don't know who took the video. And when I asked the person who sent it to me to tell me who did, because I have all of these journalists, including yourself, reaching out to me, trying to get to the bottom of it, he just stopped answering me. I said, so your friend who sent you this video just stops answering you? And he then sends me a screenshot of a conversation that they're having on an app that I don't recognize, right? So we are prodding that, and he has been responsive, so I'm sure he'll tell me what app this is. And sure enough, the person says, well, there were two people actually who took that footage, which obviously is impossible, but there are two people that were involved in taking that footage, and he sends him two numbers. And those two numbers were both Chicago-based. And when I looked up who, whose numbers were, it looked to me like that was just kind of leading to nowhere. Like, why are these two Chicago-based numbers? It was very weird and very sketchy. So then I have a guy who's on the ground in Utah, and I asked him, a student, to start looking around, fishing around, and seeing if he could figure out who took that photo. Again, operating under the assumption that this must have been a student that was walking by Belosi Center. And he comes back and he says, I have a number of an individual. This is allegedly the person who took the footage. And I said, do you know that person? Is this a UVU student? He said, no. And I said, well, where did you get this number from? And he says, well, on the day, there was a guy named Aaron who was walking around and was checking on people. And Aaron is the one that gave me this number. You know, I don't know Aaron even, but like, he's the person that gave it to me. So then I said, can I have Aaron's number? He gives me Aaron's number, and Aaron also has a Chicago number. So I'm getting from somebody on the ground, and I'm getting from this person on Twitter that all of these Chicago numbers are involved, and that's not making sense to me.
Yeah, don't make sense.
I then tried to text that number of the person who allegedly shot the footage. We didn't get a response until today. We finally got a response from that person. I hop on the phone with him. He explains that it wasn't just him. There was one other person who he was walking with, who saw this person run across. Neither of them are students of UVU. One of them said he was a student at BYU, which is Brigham Young University. And he's like, well, I didn't take the footage, but my friend took the footage. And his friend does not have a Chicago-based number. So I am confused. And we ask if he'd be willing to send us the footage and to get a phone with the person who actually took the footage. After all this running around, hence the reason these episodes take so long to put together, because you're calling people, you're waiting for responses, and what he said to me completely betrays the narrative of what the FBI has put out. I am working to quadruple confirm exactly who this individual is, but he was very much, and maybe this is a poor way of saying it, a straight shooter. Said, yes, I have a training. And I don't want to give too many identifying details here, but this person himself has a lot of experience with guns and knows guns and, helps to train people in capacity, and said that they observed that individual, the FBI saying that the shooter dropped onto the roof at 12:15 didn't make sense to him. He said earliest it was 12:22 that the individual ran across, set up, took the shots, and I said, well, you must have been there, because he then sends me...
all I'm saying about the statistics is, if you're going to believe statistics, believe them. Don't believe them sometimes. You know what I mean? And that's what we've been dealing with. We've been dealing with people that only want to believe the stats sometimes. They want to believe the stats that say black people is 13% of the population, but commit over 50% of the violent crime. They want to believe those stats. But they don't want to believe the stats on rape or incest, or you know what I'm saying? They don't, those stats not real. On radicalization, on school shooters, they don't want to believe those stats. When you give them those stats, it's you believe in Google, or you believe in the FBI. That's the issue. That's the hypocrisy in a lot of these Charlie Kirk supporters.
I wanted to see all of the metadata of when he took that footage, and the metadata begins at 12:22 and goes into 12:23, the very minute that Charlie gets shot. And he says, yeah, I saw the shots. I had just stopped recording about 20 seconds before the shot rang out. And he said that he told them a description of what the shooter looked like, and it was not the description that the entire world received less than of this person, Tyler Robinson, wearing jeans. I said, was he wearing jeans? He said, no. Actually, this person was dressed in tactical gear, and he was wearing a face mask. And he said, according to him, like I said, he has a lot of experience with guns, that this person looked to him like a foreign agent. I don't know if he's wearing all black, how he got that, but he said he was very certain that this person was skilled, knew exactly what he was doing, and was highly trained, like a highly trained assassin, so to speak, okay? He then says something else. As soon as George Zinn got arrested and that started circulating, he ran to someone on campus and said, this is the wrong person. I observed this person with my eyes. You have the complete wrong description. The person you're looking for is wearing tactical gear and is obviously young, because I watched him sprint back after taking the shot. I saw this with my own two eyes. And for whatever reason, that never made its way out that we can see of a description of a person wearing tactical gear. We're kind of left with this idea that he was wearing the now infamous veterans shirt with the American flag on it and some jeans. So he also said something that we had not heard, which is that he
delivering safe, clean, reliable, and affordable.
Well, this obviously was a hit. Now, I don't know about, who did it or not. But it's obvious that this was a hit, and it was way bigger than what they signed it was.
The gun that the FBI found was not the gun that he saw. That the gun that he saw was smaller. And I'm going to read you directly a text message that he sent me, again, protecting his identity. He said, watching the video of the impact, hearing the sharp crack instead of a big hunting rifle's boom, and seeing what looked like a shorter rifle platform, albeit with the absence of the shape of a standard 30-round magazine. The assassin may have used a 10 or 20-round magazine, only expecting to shoot once or twice. I would guess that he was shot with a Hornady V Max or similar lightweight 223 bullet designed for very rapid expansion. Of course, I don't have access to any autopsy reports like you might, but if they found small shards of copper rather than one large copper-coated lead slug, that's the gun and bullet I would expect was used. So I wanted to share that because I know that a part of this entire thing was our upset at kind of being taken for a ride by the FBI. It makes no sense to me that they wouldn't share those details immediately while this man...
The most violent criminals, if you look at the FBI most wanted list, there's not going to be a black American on that bitch. I mean, we done looked it up a few times. Yo, crime is a problem, yo. I don't think it was ever fair for America to make black people the face of crime when crime happens through all races. And that's all I've been trying to explain, with these videos. People are hypocrites. People are hypocrites. People want to believe everything negative about black people, but they don't want to believe nothing negative about their own people, even when it's statistical data that can back it up on both ends.
Was taking place. We got every other name and basically every other description, and we're told nothing like what this person who says that he was an eyewitness, he was the eyewitness to this, and that he went right in and said all this information. Why wouldn't you share the eyewitness report that you received that completely counters the narrative? And I would say, again, assuming this guy's story checks out, and it seems to me that it did, and he sent us the data, and we looked at the metadata that he was the person who took that video, it doesn't make sense to me. It literally makes no sense to me that they would obfuscate these details when they're speaking to the public. So, yeah, like I said, we are exploring every lead here, and I just found that to be quite stunning. I don't know what to make of all of this. I guess what we make every single episode is the fact that they're just lying to us about everything, about literally everything. Anyways, you guys, I want to get to some of the responses and answers that were given by Andrew Colbert, who is the PR agent for Turning Point USA. He sat down with Alex Clark and addressed
it seemed like they were trying to swindle out this company. That's what it seems like, man. I ain't gonna lie. A lot of shit just don't seem right. People got an issue with how the wife was acting at the and if we ain't ever watched her speech, we might gotta go back and watch her speech at the memorial.
Things that have been going viral, particularly as it pertains to taking down the footage in the minutes following the shooting, having somebody on their team take down that footage. You might be curious as to what he had to say First, I want to throw to some of our sponsors. Preborn.
It might be,
I've watched too many people who I'm close to be.
It might be, yo, because, you know, people have been going into his wife. His wife, she is like a, I think she was on like The Apprentice or something, or one of them Trump campaign. Like, it's a lot of strange things going on right now. A lot of strange things going on with this man and his death. A lot of things been going on with this death. Y'all see that? She competed in the 2012 Miss USA competition, which is owned by Trump. Her talent portrait for the Miss Arizona contest was performing a dribbling exhibit with 2 balls, which is crazy. Her website still lists contact info to book her for modeling and acting at the Trump International. Charlie Kirk father was involved with Trump, construction of the Trump Towers. This is her bio, modeling and acting. You know, it's just a little, you know, it's kind of strange. Yeah, but what's the odds of that, Emily? It's not that they're Trump supporters. What's the odds that the woman, that one Miss USA, that one Miss USA ends up with Charlie Kirk, who blows up and be one of Trump's biggest supporters? Like, we deal with odds, man. Odds. You know, what's the chance? You know, what's the chance of that happening again? And it being organic? That shit damn near slim to none, man. Shit damn near slim to none. Not saying it ain't possible. I'm just saying it's rare.
Vilified for standing up for truth. I've felt the sting of injustice, but I've also felt something else, which is courage. I think most of us are done playing defense. We don't want to water down what we believe to be palatable, because silence is not kindness. It's actually just consent. And right now, the greatest silence surrounds lives that are being ended before they even take their first breath. If we are going to call ourselves defenders of life, then we have to act like that. That's why I'm asking you to join me to fight back with action, with truth, with love for 28 viscose bamboo. They're soft, breathable, and temperature regulated. The earth. All right, so Andrew Colbert, obviously he's been a topic of discussion. He did the Charlie show with him, and so he sat next to Charlie throughout all of that. They were very close. He's also the PR agent for Turning Point USA, and he's also the one that issued the statement, therefore, about what is now being termed the other magic bullet, and magic bullet being the first one, JFK. It kind of seems like when the government might be involved, you know, bullets tend to have magical properties. Anyways, I've said yesterday, his job is pretty tough, and it's made even tougher by the fact that if he's told to say something, he has to say it. That's just how it works in PR, and I'm sure there are lawyers involved as well. He went on to the Alex Clark podcast. Now, it was kind of billed, I think people were expecting, but actually Alex Clark never did say that Erica Kirk was going to be the one to answer questions pertaining to Charlie and to clear up some rumors about his personal life. She teased that, you know, that you were going to get unfiltered answers to burning questions like, quote, was Charlie converting to Catholicism? Again, I have no idea who said he was converting to Catholicism. I feel like it's like intentionally misrepresenting what was said. Also, she was going to answer, did he take $150 million from Israel? Again, not something that we said on this show. And again, like I told you, they're going to address the SD cards. Now, I was very clear. And I am still kind of shocked by the reaction from the evangelical community. It was totally just, it didn't make any sense to me. A, because Erica's a cradle Catholic. I said Charlie was attending the mass because he was. I said Charlie was praying the rosary because he was. And I said that as a Catholic, of course, I was egging him to take the next step. who wouldn't? Of course you want, whatever your faith is, if you're evangelical and someone's thinking about converting, you're going to want to egg them on. That totally makes sense. And it wasn't said in an evil capacity. I said the joke that I said to Charlie, take the next step. You're too smart to be a Protestant. That's a descriptor of our relationship. We were like brother and sister. It's said in humor and in jest. Hey guys, I was Protestant like 5 minutes ago. And so I felt like people were looking for reasons to be offended and wanted somebody to come out and slap that down and say, no, he wasn't attending the mass, and, kind of caging this like it was a war for Charlie. It's like, no, he never took the first step in converting, but I think going to the mass and praying the rosary, obviously it's going to get Catholics excited. Anyways, let's start with that. Andrew's response to the Catholic question. Take a listen. Was he becoming Catholic?
No. But he really loved Catholic Mass. He loved the ritual of it. He loved the beauty of old Catholic churches and the stained glass.
And him and Erica would go sometimes.
Yeah, well, Erica's a cradle Catholic, but she ended up kind of like me. I grew up Catholic and First Communion and went to Catholic high school, but then I ended up becoming a Christian in college through a Protestant church, through a non-denominational kind of more
Catholics are
experience.
Christian.
It was actually Presbyterian, and then it was kind of non-denominational. And I think Erica kind of follows that same path. She and I share that.
Also, by the way, I just want to draw attention to, she's posted a photo of her and Charlie and the kids in Mass before, and somebody in the comment section said, oh, are you guys converting? And she said, no, we just like attending sometimes. So she herself had said no.
Yeah,
probably.
and I think Charlie, one of the things, Charlie really hated worshiping in like a gym, or some sort of kind of blank space that you just turn into church. There's no problem. He didn't have a problem with the act of that. He just didn't prefer it. And he loved, again, the ritual, the ancient, feel of a Catholic Mass, and the fact that everybody around the world that was worshiping as Catholic, he loved that. So he had some really big theological hangups with that. You can go check the videos out, him debating with Michael Knowles, in good fun. I mean, they were dear friends, but they loved kind of debating the whole Protestant versus Catholic thing.
So I didn't lie about anything, and yeah, he was attending Mass. And so usually if you are ritualistically attending Mass, meaning he liked the ritual, I'm not sure what that means. Like, I don't understand what we're doing. It just feels weird. And to say he converted to Christian, Catholics are Christian. So, he said, I think Andrew said, I converted to Christianity. I went from being a cradle Catholic, and yeah, there was no question that Erica and Charlie were attending the Mass, and that's what I said. And I said that he was praying the rosary, and there's no dispute there. I never said he started converting to Catholicism. I said that the Catholics were kind of thinking, take the next step, Charlie, take the next step. And I don't think it was just architectural for him, far be it from me to speak on behalf of whether he was just attending because he liked the architecture. I think it was a little deeper than that, and I agree that he did have some hang-ups, but that's kind of, when you make that thing of like, he didn't really like having church in a gym, that's a step, right? So for me, that was a step where I was going, okay, like I want something that feels a little bit deeper. It's a journey. Nobody was trying to start a Catholic versus Protestant war. I just shared something about, my final conversations with him, and a lot of the conversations were about faith towards the end. Yeah, that's it. Not a big deal. Anyways, then they get to the second portion of something that I didn't say. Nobody said the number 150 million, or I didn't say the number, Tucker didn't. I don't know where the 150 million number came from. If I'm being honest, I said 150 million was what Bibi spent on Operation Mocking Pastor. Now, the way they're going to answer this question about whether or not Charlie was offered money, Israeli money, is interesting. Take a listen.
Was Charlie offered $150 million from Israel?
As far as I know, no.
I had never heard anything like that. Everyone I've asked has said the same thing.
And by the way, just for what it's worth, it doesn't matter the amount that would have been coming down. We would have said no.
And there's evidence that is true.
Turning Point does not, Charlie would not accept foreign money.
Exactly.
We only took American money.
Yeah.
There was money sent to us, like practically in multiple instances where they're trying to cram it down our bank account. And we said, no, we canceled like money wires and things.
No foreign money, and also no handouts from the government. During the
100%.
pandemic, he refused to do mass layoffs that everybody else in the country was doing. Said no to the whatever that check was. What was that they were handing out? Stimulus check.
Yeah, the PPE loans, right? I always get PPP and PPE mixed up, but
yeah. But it was a good amount of money that at the time we could have used.
Yeah.
He put out a company statement saying, this was tempting for sure, but we're going to say no.
Yeah.
I mean, he was very principled in that way.
He was extremely principled, especially on foreign money. I remember moments we'd be at like an event, and some foreign people would come up and like demand a meeting or try and get a meeting with Charlie, and Charlie would look at me and go, deal with them, get rid of them. Like, just, I don't want to talk to them.
Okay, so there is this thing called FARA, and every country, if they're going to influence people, if you're Qatar, if you're Iran, and you want to lobby on behalf of those countries, you have to be registered under FARA, so we know where that money is going into. If you have, literally it stands for foreign agents registering, right? If you have foreign agents in America that are working on your behalf, we would be able to see that. But there's this magic carve out for Israel, right? So when you say, like, was he going to take Israeli money? It's kind of a working around it, right? Do I think that in the turning point accounts it would have said Bibi Netanyahu, wants this money to go to? Probably not. Do I know for a fact that there are foreign agents working on behalf of Israel that gave money to Turning Point? Yes, they do. The question is whether it's Bill Ackman, whether it's Bob Shulman, whether it's a ton of the donors who write big checks and are pressuring him to say
I'm glad
stuff.
You said that. And that's the reason, and that's the biggest issue I took with Charlie Kirk. He gives statistics, but he don't explain them. Every statistic it deserves an explanation. Like, you can't just throw out numbers and let them speak for themselves, because those numbers tell the story. And if you can't tell the story, then you might not should reference the numbers. And that's why I say a lot of things what Charlie Kirk was doing was dangerous in a sense. Especially when it came down to black people. Now, I don't know his stance on everything else. I really don't even care. But when it came down to black people and the rhetoric that he was pushing over there, it was like, yo, he doing this dangerous, yo, because it's rhetoric. He's just pushing numbers and statistics. Yeah, but these statistics need explanation. Like, you can't talk about crime in the community. You can't talk about fatherless homes and not explain how these things came into fruition. Can't do that, man. But I ain't gonna make this live real long for. I just wanted to tap in with y'all. It's getting there. I get my kids off to school in the morning. It's almost 12 o'clock. So make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all share it live. It's another day. Keep it unique.